Dead Rails is a Roblox game where you go on a train and try to escape and go to the end. However, there is zombies and you have to loot houses in order to survive. So the first class we got is None. None class isn't very a special class. You just spawn with one shovel. That's it. No debuffs or advantages, just straight out basic. However, None class has no debuffs. Because of no debuffs, I'm rating this a low C tier, almost to D. Next class we've got is the Miner. You spawn with the shovel, pickaxe, miner's helmet, and 2 coal. This actually seems good. However, the pickaxe really deals the same speed and damage as the shovel. However, shovel needs 30 to 50 hits to break an ore. The pickaxe needs less than 3. You also spawn with 2 coal. However, once you get to the second safe zone, the class is pretty much useless. Miner goes in a low B tier. 2 coal makes up for it. The next class we got is the Vampire. For this class, you spawn with a vampire knife and a shovel. Now, what a vampire knife does is, when you attack, it has an ability for a life steal. This means, every hit from an enemy, you gain some health. However, you take damage from direct sunlight. But to fix this, you can simply put a newspaper for your head. Vampire class also has a 2x speed and 2x damage. Vampire is actually so fast even speedy zombies can't even keep up with you. Vampire class is also faster than a horse. Vampire knife, 2x speed, and 2x damage makes this class easily the best class in this game, and makes it one of the most best classes to raid castles, constitutions, and villages. However, please note this class is extremely skill based and needs a lot of practice to make it good. This class alone can actually wipe out a whole town as well with only the vampire knife. No guns. Easily goes to S tier. Vampire knife, 2x damage. Speed makes this class so good. Next is the musician class. The musician spawns with a banjo, with no shovel. When banjo played, it heals players' health very slowly. It does not heal you, no. Only musician class can heal with the banjo. No other class. Banjo is actually very good combo for vampire class because vampire class takes damage in sunlight. But overall, musician isn't good like miner or doctor. This class goes in a solid C tier, a bit above None class cause it spawns without a weapon. Moving on through the list is doctor's class. You spawn with 2 bandages, 2 snake oil, and a shovel. This might seem bad cause bandages are very easy to get, but here's why it's actually the best 15 bond class. Doctor can revive people without bandage equipment, however, it'll take half of their health away. This is actually one of the best class for team play. However, this class is not good in solo play. This class is more of a support class more than an offensive or defense class. I'd actually recommend this for beginners first class. Normally if you're playing with a team, the team does not have to worry about running low on bandages. This class goes on very low a tier. Not only that it's cheap, it's also one of the most best support classes in the game. However, it is not good on solo play. Next class on the list is Arsonist. This class is very basic, but moderately good for early game. You spawn with 4 Molotovs. Now, this class is pretty skill based. This class can wipe out the first town with just only 4 Molotovs. In a village, if you lure all the enemies and make them in one group, then throw the Molotovs. That's how to use Arsonist in a village. But just like Miner, after the first base, the class is pretty much useless. I'm rating this a high B tier. This class is highly effective in the early game, but it does nothing in mid or late game. Next class is the Necromancer. Now, let's say this class, in my opinion, is underrated. Any enemy killed with a melee weapon has a 25% of getting reincarnated. This means that any enemy killed with a melee weapon gets revived and fight for you. This class can be pretty useful for early, mid, and late game. If combined with Strange Mask and Jade Sword, this class would be very overpowered, almost turning most enemies to become your friend. One big weakness is that it has to be killed with a melee weapon. This means it's very hard to kill outlaws, werewolves to become reincarnated. I'd rate this at a high B tier. Trying to reincarnate werewolves or outlaws with a melee weapon is very hard, and I don't want to be extreme. Next is Packmaster. You spawn with 3 tamed wolves, and any wolf attacks you becomes your ally. This class is op if you know how to use it. If you have 10 wolves, normally there is one group of wolves in each 10,000 km. 10 wolves can wipe out a whole town, or if not, then at least 3/4 of a town. This class is worth buying. This class is in low tier, very good for wiping towns. Next class we've got is Werewolf. Werewolf is an offensive class, mostly at night. You only spawn with 1 shovel. What this class does is at nighttime, you get 2x health, 2x speed, and 2x damage, and at daytime, it is 0.9x health, 0.9x speed, and 0.9x damage. Considering all the nighttime buffs, this class can almost one-shot zombies with a tomahawk at night. Even in the daytime debuffs, this class is very overpowered, and it has the potential to become the best class in the game. This costs 50 bonds, and at nighttime, it's powerful as Vampire and Survivalist at night. And a quick note, you don't get debuffs at the first daytime. This means it could also be an early game class. Next class is called the Conductor. You spawn with 2 coal, no shovel or weapon, and can drive the train at 85 SPS instead of 65 SPS. And when you're at 85 SPS, the train consumes the same amount of fuel like SPS. For example, if you put 2 coal in the furnace in a regular class, it'll run out midway. But 2 coal with the Conductor, you'll not run out and still consumes the same amount of fuel. This class is a support class, however, unlike Doctor, can be still good in solo play. Because in solo play, you can use your money to buy a weapon. You don't need to buy a coal. And if you want a speedrun, this is the best class to speedrun. This class goes in low S tier like Werewolf. I cannot even say what debuffs there are, other than not spawning with a melee. Next class is called the Alamo. Alamo spawns with 3 sheet metal, 3 barbed wires, and a helmet. This class is pretty mid, because sheet metal is basically newspaper, but a tiny bit better. The only good thing about this class is the barbed wires. What a barbed wire does is that any enemy that touches the barbed wire gets damaged a lot or long enough killed, depending on where you place it. The helmet is also good, but I think barbed wire is better. This class is mainly a defense class, not a support class, but it is pretty good for teams. This class goes between A and B, however, it'll go on low a tier. Next class we've got is the Cowboy. This class spawns with a revolver and an ammo, tamed horse, shovel, and a saddle. This class can carry you both in early and mid-game. Because of the gun, killing outlaws is suggested in this class. This class can make you get stacked with money in early game. Because having a horse, raiding constitutions, castles, and towns are very easy. Because you can lure the zombies to shoot them. Overall, this class both very good in mid and early game. Both good for solo and team play. Very good offensive class. This class is the best class for the Pony Express quest, a quest about finishing the game without a train. There is also a 1% chance, instead of spawning with a horse, you spawn with a unicorn. This is also the only class in the list that spawns with a loaded gun. This class goes in a solid A tier. It does not carry good in late game, which is why it's not an S. Next class is called the Ironclad. The Ironclad spawns with full armor. However, it is one of the slowest classes in the game, taking minus 10% speed. The Ironclad has a 50% damage reduction from the start. This makes Ironclad so good for defense and one of the best defense class in the game, taking more than 10 revolver shots to kill you. However, the Ironclad cost 100 bonds, which is the most expensive, and there are more classes better than Ironclad and Vampire, Survivalist, Werewolf, also taking minus 10% speed, which I said already. I'd rate this a solid A tier. The reason why it dragged down is because the debuff is so bad. Minus 10% speed. This means that you need a horse as soon as possible. And if you take all your armor off, it'll still be minus 10%. Moving on the list, class called High Roller. You collect money bags for 1.5x more. For example, if you sell a gold bar, you sell it for $75 instead of $50. So 51, 5 equals 75. This support class is both good at solo and team, especially team play, because you can get stacked even before the second safe zone. Last time, my friend got $800 on a high roller on the 10,000 km safe zone. However, there are two downsides. The first one is that during a thunderstorm night, there is a 10x chance likely you get strikes by lightning. This means you need to get a lightning rod as soon as possible. And during late game, it is pretty much not good, because you already have enough money to be stacked in late game. Overall, this is very good both in solo and team, but if you play on team, you get stacked very fast. This class goes in low A tier. Next class is called the Survivalist. You spawn with a shovel and a tomahawk. The more lower health, the higher damage you deal. However, this actually sounds more broken than it sounds. Even with max health, you can one-shot zombies with a revolver in their shoulder. For a regular class, it takes 2-3 shots, and with a rifle, it's a different game. You one-shot a lot of zombies no matter which target. When you're in a quarter of a health, you can 6-shot a werewolf with a revolver, and 4-shot a werewolf with a rifle at low health. Even when battling with Nikola Tesla, it takes a total of 20-40 shots to kill Tesla with a rifle, making this a very good class. No matter how many players there are, the depth of the game, no matter if it's early, mid, or late game, no matter if you're alone, this class is good in either way. I'm afraid this class would get nerfed in the future. This class goes in immediate solid S tier. Vampire and Survivalist are so similar on how good it is. Next class is Zombie. Now, just say, this class sucks. Even think about buying this class. This class has an ability where you can eat zombies. However, you cannot use bandages or snake oil. Even when you eat zombies, it literally just heals not even a fraction of your health. And plus, no one is gonna stop and eat the zombies while getting chased with low health. Bandages and snake oil are more better, heals better, and better to use in the middle of a fight. High F tier. Don't get this class. Don't even think about it. Next is called Priest. The priest spawns with 2 crucifix and 2 holy water and a shovel. For this class, the crucifix is okay, but the holy water is where the class gets good. Unlike Molotov, the holy water can one-shot werewolves and requires less skill than Arsonist, and it's better to clear the first town. Even one holy water could clear the first town. If you're doing the Nikola Tesla, I recommend save the crucifix so that you can use it on Tesla. Not a late game class, but can be good if you know how to use it in late game. Solid A tier. Basically Arsonist, but better. The next is MilkMan. The more you are covered in milk, the most you get faster and take more damage. You can find milk in buildings, or it could rain milk. Anyways, if you get 100% covered in milk, you have a 5x speed boost, 4.5x melee damage, meaning you can one-shot zombies with a shovel, and 2 health every second. But the milk for 100% only lasts 3 minutes. and it's RNG based to find milk on a building. This class is also very good for raiding towns. Overall, this goes on a low S tier, similar to Werewolf and Conductor. Now, we are left with 2 event classes, Horse and Eggslinger. Eggslinger is a class where you can get in the 2025 Easter event. You spawn with 1 Easter egg and a shovel. Every 2 minutes, you get a random sized Easter egg. You can only spawn 20 entities from the egg. If there is 20, the egg will not hatch. According to the wiki, these are the egg informations. Despite the maximum 20 limit, if you have 10-20 allies, they can raid a whole town, depending on what entity. Even the entities you bring at Nikola Tesla, if activated, all of them can actually take at least half of their health away. This class is actually so good. Unfortunately, you cannot get it anymore. Immediate solid S tier. Last class, Horse. The horse can be obtained by finishing the April Fool's horsing around game mode. Sadly, it was an event, and you cannot get it. You spawn a shovel, you become a horse, and you can walk faster. However, it is not fast as a horse. As a horse, you can hold a gun. You can also have a player riding on you. However, there is also a lot of bugs in this class, and you can't wear Miner's helmet properly. I'd rate it between low and medium B tier.